Hello.
Chair, you are here?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Anybody hear me?
Yes, from Chair, we can hear you. Can you hear
Okay.
us?
Yes.
Good,
Everybody's
good.
there. Should I start? My internet is not so good.
Okay, we will start as soon as possible. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
Is somebody going to translate?
Yes, all your we have I think 8 languages. All interpreters are here. And we have 2 Zoom
Don't
rooms.
believers are going to listen to this?
I think, yeah, people would like to receive the vow.
Okay.
Okay. So I will just briefly introduce you and then we will start the Bodhisattva vow. She will recite the 7 branch offering prayer first.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see me?
Yes. Maybe Jack, we should spotlight Rinpoche. Is that okay?
Are we beginning?
Yes. Okay, Rinpoche, I will start now. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. 大家好. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jennifer Yo. I'm the executive director of the Bodhisattva Project. And in Chinese tradition, today's the day Chinese friends and families reunite with their families and friends. And we are really grateful that our Buddhist teacher, Tsongsa Khyentse Rinpoche, makes time in the midst of his travel to be with us and give us the Bodhisattva vow. It has been a very tough time for a lot of us around the world. We hope through this gathering, we will all gain more strength and confidence to continue with our life. Today, in the first part of the gathering, we will request Rinpoche to give us the Bodhisattva vow. After that, we will invite the main founder of the Creative Resilience Project, Sandra Scales and Deepa Thakur, to share with us their work. So before Rinpoche give us the Bodhisattva vow, let us recite the 7 branch prayer. Jack, thank you. And today I request our friend Jack to lead us through this prayer. Jack, please lead us. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. To all the Buddhas, the lines of the human race, in all directions of the universe, through past and present and future, to every single one of you, I bow in homage. Devotion fills my body, speech, and mind. Through the power of this prayer, aspiring to good action, all the victorious ones appear, vivid here before my mind, and I multiply my body as many times as atoms in the universe, each one bowing in prostration to all the Buddhas. In every atom preside as many Buddhas as there are atoms, and around them all their Bodhisattva heirs. And so I imagine them filling completely the entire space of reality. Saluting them with an endless ocean of praise, with the sounds of an ocean of different melodies, I sing of the Buddha's noble qualities and praise all those who have gone to perfect bliss. To every Buddha I make offerings of the loveliest flowers, of beautiful garlands, of music and perfumed ointments, the best of parasols, the brightest lamps, and finest incense. To every Buddha I make offerings, exquisite garments and the most fragrant scents, powdered incense, heaped as high as Mount Meru, arranged in perfect symmetry. Then the vast and unsurpassable offerings, inspired by my devotion to all the Buddhas, and moved by the power of my faith in good actions, I prostrate and offer to all you victorious ones. Whatever negative acts I have committed, while driven by desire, hatred, and ignorance, with my body, my speech, and also with my mind, before you, I confess and purify each and every one. With a heart full of delight, I rejoice at all the merits of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, prior cut Buddhas, those in training, and the Arhats beyond training, and every living being throughout the entire universe. You who are like beacons of light shining through the world, who pass through the stages of enlightenment to attain Buddhahood, freedom from all attachment, I exhort you, all of you protectors, turn the unsurpassable wheel of Dharma. Joining my palms together, I pray to you who intend to pass into nirvana, remain for eons as many as the atoms in this world, and bring well-being and happiness to all living beings. What little virtue I have gathered through my homage, through offering, confession, and rejoicing, through exhortation and prayer, all of it, I dedicate to the enlightenment of all beings.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Rinpoche, for coming today. Now, can we request you to give us the Bodhisattva vow? Thank you.
So first of all, happy autumn moon festival to everyone who follows this tradition and who doesn't. Somebody's going to translate this, or should I just continue?
Yes, Rinpoche, it's a simultaneous translation.
Oh, okay. I'm in a very remote place in Bhutan, so the internet is probably not the best, but the moon is very clear. I guess probably that's important. I'm sure under this very moon, billions and billions, countless and countless of bodhisattvas of the past have taken Bodhisattva vow. And I'm sure countless of the future bodhisattvas will also take Bodhisattva vow under this very same moon, if I call it this very same moon. Vow is like a direction. Vow is like a premise. But a vow also is like the key to the freedom. As a human being, we need things. We need a premise. We need a ground. We need this because we are always going through what the Buddhists call dukkha. Yes, that experiencing fun, like maybe like tonight, festive, sort of celebrative mood. After a while, none of this lasts. And even while it's happening, it's never 100% perfect. So there's a constant and therefore constant insecurity. And because of this insecurity, we sort of jump to quick conclusions, trying to fix things, trying to, apply all kinds of remedies. And many times these remedies, these solutions, they themselves end up becoming some sort of a problem. So I think having a right premise, right ground, right foundation, right sort of a direction is so important. Now, if you think about it, there's a no greater, more sober, more non-deceiving, non-delusional premise, foundation, or direction than way of the Bodhisattva. How, Bodhisattva's way of thinking, Bodhisattva's way of looking at things, and Bodhisattva's way of dwelling with the Bodhisattva's way of looking at things. So this is why I would say there's no greater vow than the vow of the Bodhisattva, or I will consider myself very fortunate that I'm sort of acting as the preceptor or the sort of the master tonight, taking the Bodhisattva vow. And some of you may have already taken the Bodhisattva vow, and some of you know the benefit of the Bodhisattva vow. This may be the first time. And for you, I would say this is one vow that you should not hesitate to take. Because on the most fundamental level, this is a vow to be kind to oneself and others. A vow to be compassionate. Vow to be beneficial to oneself and others. You know, there's no better vow than this. There's no better kind thought. Now, Bodhisattva vow or the Bodhicitta vow is not limited by wanting to do something like a philanthropic, something like some very limited philanthropic action. Fundamentally, the Bodhisattva vow is the vow to understand the truth and help others understand the truth. Because only through understanding the truth, one will then liberate oneself from all these unnecessary entanglement. One will not only liberate oneself, but also liberate others. Another thing, Bodhisattva vow is doable. This is one vow that you can actually take. You have the ability, everyone has. And also, this is one vow. The aim of the vow is definitely achievable. Even the aspiration to have peaceful world. Yes, it may be possible, but for some, it may not be possible. Liberation from the duality, liberation from the ignorance is it's not a false aspiration. Vow that is worthy to take. And this is the only vow that gives us the fruit. In fact, the fruit of the vow the moment you even think about taking the vow, the moment you think of helping somebody, we don't even know how you are going to help. We don't know who are you going to help. We don't know, but there is a wish. I wish to be helpful. I wish I can, benefit others. You don't know how, you don't know when, you don't know with which people, but you don't have this very wish to help others. This even considering be beneficial, to be useful for others. That's already the fruit. So this is so precious, and so, as many bodhisattvas of the past said, bodhicitta is a one mind that can turn even the negative actions to positive actions, and positive actions to the enlightened actions. So there are two. It turns bad things into good things, and good things into enlightened or transcendental things. So I urge you to all rejoice ourselves for be participating this taking the Bodhisattva vow tonight, especially in this autumn moon festival. Okay, so today I'm not going to actually, as usually I recite certain stanzas or liturgy, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to just guide you through how to contemplate. So let's contemplate. Let's think. Present, of course, the past and the present, but even the future Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're all in front of you. So think that all sentient beings, beings that you know, or beings that you have never heard of, never know, now generate, instantly think that you now think that you in many, many quantities, billions, we are all prostrations to the Buddha, Buddha's disciples are, and also the Dharma and the Sangha. And then in front of them, think that from now till enlightenment, I shall take the Buddha as my guide, as my teacher, and the Dharma as my path, and the Sangha as my companion. One more time. I think, contemplate in front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas that from now till enlightenment, we will take the Buddha as our guide, as our teacher, Dharma as the path, and the Sangha as our companion. Now, slightly different. In front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, think even though I do not recognize This is the Buddha. And think that all phenomena, even though they appear in myriad ways, none of them have truly we trust. Okay. So with this, let's consider we have taken refuge. Now the next one, our event today, the Bodhisattva vow. Once again, think all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you, and also and think in front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Today, I shall take how the Bodhisattvas of the past, such as Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Kishtigarva, as how they took the Bodhisattva vow, I shall also take the vow and practice Bodhisattva path step by step. Again, one more time. In front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I shall take the Bodhisattva vow, just as how the Bodhisattvas of the past have taken the Bodhisattva vow, or the Bodhicitta vow. And I shall engage with I shall apply the Bodhisattva activity step by step. Okay, one more time. In front of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I shall take the Bodhicitta vow, just as how the Bodhisattvas of the past have taken. And step by step, I shall apply the Bodhisattva activity in my life. Now, rejoice yourself that today you have become the heir Buddha. Today you have become the Bodhisattva. Today your life has become fruitful. Today I belong to the family of the Buddha. Okay. Now, after rejoicing to all sentient beings, remember, we have already thought of all the sentient beings in front of you. Declare in front of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and you, sentient beings. I have taken the Bodhisattva vow. I have become the servant of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the sentient. All heavenly beings and asuras rejoice. Now, since we have taken the Bodhisattva vow, let's immediately practice the Bodhisattva activity, thinking, or by having aspirations. So just follow my, will guide you through the aspiration, some example of aspiration. May I become food when there's a famine. May I become medicine when there's ailment. May I become bridge when there's someone wishing to get across. May I become a boat when someone wants to reach the other shore. May I become a guide when we encounter lost ones. All my existence, even breathing in and out, may it become beneficial one way or another. May it lead myself and all sentient beings to understand the truth. Now, as you know, the real bodhicitta has to be with the mind of the prajna, the wisdom. Without the wisdom, the main ingredient of the bodhicitta is not there. So as a beginning, let us just be aware of our thoughts. It could be something very mundane and ordinary. Just be aware of that. Just being aware. No judgment. May disappear. No need to go after that. Simply being aware of whatever is happening this very moment with that is a genuine, short maybe, genuine, authentic beginning of ultimate bodhicitta. Okay, so now we have taken the Bodhisattva vow. I will now, by reciting few auspicious. 지대는 지금 버티면 안제 빼면 남자지 비장 되는 지대인게 위터시던 거지. 대인이 어떤 비처럼 차단 미쳐 쳐지던 뭐 지구 남자시 저 되는 지대인게 위터. 겐데는 뭐 쳐던 덤변나지 좀 지처럼 사실은 빠지시. 대는 지대인게 위터시 봐. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. So Rinpoche, we're going to introduce the Creative Resilience Project. Would you like to say a few lines about it? Or just...
I think maybe you should just begin.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Thank you,
I
Rinpoche.
can't hear myself so much here. So I'm getting a little distracted.
Yes, the internet is so good. So thank you so much, Rinpoche, for coming, and small happy Moon Festival to you. Okay, just on behalf of everyone here, and thank you, Rinpoche. So we'll continue with the program, and if internet permits, please stay with us. Okay,
Yes.
So go to the next part of the program. I would like to introduce a new initiative which is supported by Kinsey Rinpoche and the Kinsey Foundation. It's called the Creative Resilience Project. And this is a project that has been shaped by the contributions of many wonderful individuals, including Sandra Scales, Deepak Thakur, Deborah Dorje, Tara Degesu, and other dedicated artists and psychology students of Rinpoche. So let me take a moment to briefly introduce you to this beautiful project. Jack, can you share the screen with us? Thank you. So this is the Creative Resilience Project website. If you have the opportunity to click into their link, you will notice that when you move the mouse, this beautiful glow coming from on the home page. And now let's enter the experience of this project. The first page you will see are the 5 elements with the 5 guardians, and each one of them are created with different menus. So Jack, can we go into maybe the water element? Thank you. So here you can see a menu with different options and exercises offered by the team. And if you are very curious what are here, you can also go to the top right corner where there's an all content menu. And then here you can see there are many different simple, easy to follow psychological exercises. There are meditations, classes, podcasts, and also a lot of different sharing of very nice voices and recorded by some of the students of Rinpoche. And then I personally find what's very helpful is when I first came to this website, when we go to the bottom of the website, we can also see there's how to use this site and more about the guardians. And in the how to use this website, I found it very interesting. They have a section called how do I best use of this website. And so here you can see they have exercises you can do when they say if your spirits are low and you need uplifting, what you can do. If you are in a relationship that is troublesome at the moment, and then you can actually do the art of listening. If you are annoyed or angry, then maybe you want to read Dissolving Anger. If you're stuck or frozen and cannot act, what you can do is maybe in action to action and then creating new pathways. And then if you're too critical of yourself, there are also things you can follow. And they're very simple, like most of them are just few minutes. And so thank you, Jack. And then so I think I wouldn't want to spoil the surprises for you. So it would be wonderful if you can find some time to try the website. And today we're very honored to introduce one of the team members of this project, Sandra Scales. Hello, Sandra. Thank you for joining us today on the Moon Festival.
Hi. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Hi, Sandra. We have prepared 2 questions that we would like you to share with our friends here. The first question is, can you share with us how this project came about? Because it's so new, so different from most Buddhist project website. Can you share with us how did this project came about?
Well, can you hear me, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. It came about because Rinpoche asked us to create something that would help people during these difficult times. So he asked us to use the idea of resilience and mastering our mind. So then we did what we could do. We thought very, very hard and a lot of time to think how to do this, because he didn't want us to just have Buddhism there. He wanted it to cross the borders of all religions and all cultures. So then we had to think, because Rinpoche asked us, we had to think what's going to cross these borders. And then it's pretty easy because everybody gets angry, everybody gets lonely, everybody gets down and out, everybody needs connection. And because during the pandemic, a lot of connections were lost, then we tried to think, how can we connect? What's there really for us? And then we came up with these ideas. Well, the sky, we all can look and we all see the sky. We have the same sky. We have earth. And then we started thinking about the guardians and the dakinis of these elements. And then it just went from one thing to the other. So we sort of tried to be creative. Actually, we didn't plan. That's the thing. We were like on a blank canvas, and it just kept evolving with colors and Tara's art and ideas. And then we came up with this. I hope this has some order, but it could be just a mess. But inside this mess is some psychological things which can help us. Now, before I just want to say one thing that's really important. We're all aiming on this Bodhisattva way. Now, emotions and what we're presenting in this is just like how to make life easier, how to move the boulders that are on the path. So emotions are just like the way we change our clothes, the way we get entangled in a thorn bush, how to get out of it. So that's all. But the problem is, if we get entangled, then we sit there too long and our aim for helping others is obscured. So it's sort of just like that. I want to make it really, really clear. Emotions can take time away from our bodhisattva aspiration. And if we can undo them quickly, that's handy. So that's sort of what we're trying to do here. Uplift and undo these tangles quick.
Right.
And it doesn't always work, by the way. So but it very often does. But it very often does. All the time we were doing this, we said, well, how often will this work? And then we'd try it, and then we'd have people try it. And most of the time it sort of worked. And then the other thing is, it's temporary, because we're walking down the road to compassion and we move one boulder and bango, there's another one. And so then we have to deal with that. But mainly we wanted to bring out creativity and individual heart and spirit. That's it. Is that too much?
No, it's beautiful. Thank you, the way you put it. Rinpoche, you are welcome to say anything anytime.
Hi.
Hi, Rinpoche.
I just want to say that I have kind of bullied Sandra a lot, but with a lot of Hello?
Okay.
I know Sandra ever since when? I was 13?
Yeah, you were stealing comic books and hiding them under the cushions in the monastery and reading them during the wongs. And you came to borrow my son's comics. Yeah, you were young.
And if my English is not good, it is all Sandra's fault, because she is the one who taught me English first.
Okay, so Rinpoche, can I continue with our second question then? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so Sandra, last week we were discussing of your project, and you mentioned something about the unconscious habits, and you also talk about the difference between psychology and Buddhism. I found both of them very interesting. Can you share these 2 points with our friends here?
Well, Buddhism's like the sky, so I can't really address that adequately. And that's hard. Could you say that question again, one at a time?
Yes. So can you tell us, because you have a lot of exercises here is based on psychology, but the goal actually is hoping people can apply some of the Buddhist philosophy without using Buddhist jargons or Buddhist words. So what's the difference between psychology and Buddhism?
Psychology is, I can't answer that adequately today, but I can talk about habits and psychology a bit. Psychology, again, is just sort of like helps us with our emotions. And it's simple. It helps us with our emotions. It helps us take the boulders out of the road. It helps us practice with more calm. And that's it. It's very simple. Habits are repeated patterns that come very often from the unconscious aspect of ourselves. So consciously, we know what we're doing, but sometimes we have habits that are really, they just keep repeating and we don't even know what's going on, but we repeat them. So most of the things in this website are geared to the unconscious, because if I talk to you about something you don't know, like if you talk to me about computers, it's like talking to a cow. It doesn't work. If I talk to you about the unconscious mind, and you don't know what I'm talking about a habit you're doing, you're not going to understand it. So these exercises in here, some of the psychologists go indirectly. We go indirectly to change what's and bring it up. Does that make any sense? I'm not sure that makes any sense.
Then how do we know we have what kind of unconscious habits we have then?
Well, we get complaints from our family.
And
so,
colleagues.
we get scolded by the great masters. We look at our life and it's a bit of a mess, and we look at our house and it's, why is it so messy? I mean, it's like feedback. We have to believe what the feedback, to a certain degree, we have to analyze it anyway. If the criticism is true or not. And then we have to look at it and say, oh, yeah, that might be true. Like, I think it was Sandra Kenzie, but it might have been Tinley Noble that was telling me how I was too bossy with my children. And I didn't know I was bossy. But then I started looking at it, and they were very young. I started looking at it, and yeah, that's true. That's true. So we see that, and we don't need to go in this kind of religious, spiritual, oh, I'm so happy that you've criticized me. I can't stand that. But we can look at it and we can say, yeah, this is true. I've got to try to change that. That's all. It's habits are easy to change if we know them.
Right. So now can you maybe share with us 2 exercises? Can you share your screen and maybe take us through 2 exercises you find them might be very helpful to our friends here?
Yeah. This is this is a exercise that came from a teaching from Dungsi Tinlinoba Rinpoche. And there's a little story. He taught this to a 9-year-old boy that was at our house. And the little boy applied it. So it's the little boy would come home from school. He was staying at our house, come home from school every day. And in Bodha, in Kathmandu, right by the stupa, there was this gate. It was easy to open if you could figure it out, but he couldn't figure it out. So every day the boy was furious and kicking the gate and very unhappy. And then one day, Dungsi Tinlinobu was coming to our house, and he saw the boy kicking the gate. And he said, stop. He's so gracious and so full of grace. And he said, stop. This is what the boy told me anyway. And he said, let me open the gate for you, but let me tell you what you can do. You can just watch your anger. Don't think about the gate. Don't think about the gate. Just go inside and watch your anger. And what happened is that he did watch his anger. It's sort of unbelievable. And then the next day he came home from school and he said, I did it. I opened the gate. I'm not angry. Everything's fine. So the Rinpoche was teaching that day when he came in, and he also said, anger is the contrived aspect, and it conceals the uncontrived true essence, which is profound clarity. And then he explained that anger, when it dissipates and fades, when you watch on the anger, it just sort of evaporates. And practice it a little while, like a week or 2. Well, if you're angry or annoyed or just aggravated. You can watch that. And then it just sort of dissipates. And then there is an experience of clarity. You see, oh my God, this is it. And so that's it. And that's now, here's what he said to do. You take your mind off the object of your anger. If it's a person or if it's a situation, move your mind back and come into yourself and watch your energy, watch your anger. Then again, turn your awareness inward again and again. Take your mind off the object. Watch. Then you can sort of get a sense that it's rising or it's something, it's moving. It's like not like smoke, but like air. And if you wish, you can imagine your anger like red smoke or any color, moving upward and dissolving. This is invisible. So for people that can imagine things and see, you can do that. But if you just sense things, you can just sense that getting thinner and thinner and lighter and evaporating. So watch that. The thing is that what we're angry at or annoyed at is like a magnet, and we want to go back to it and create the story and want to be right, and we go back and back, but then we lose, then we go away from ourselves and we go away from our wisdom. So this idea is you practice, take your mind off your story, take your mind off who you're blaming and come back to yourself. As you do this practice, you begin to feel emotionally and mentally lighter and lighter. And Rinpoche said you can use this for anything such as sorrow, irritation, fear, jealousy, and so on. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, yes, this is really wonderful. But I think it leads to another question I have, like people like us who grew up in Confucius, upbringing and or very religious background. And also, like, we were taught you shouldn't be angry at people, right? But what if we do the practice, but we still get angry with people? Often we just feel so bad about ourselves. We criticize ourselves a lot of being how we are. So how can we work with that?
Well, I think expectations are really a problem. And when we have expectations of never being angry, that's a problem. Again, that takes you away from yourself. So the expectations create us leaving our potential wisdom. And so, we're going to be angry, but maybe it'll be less and less. And maybe we'll, through purifying this anger, not purifying, but like lightening it up, we'll have a little sense of wisdom and clarity that we didn't have before. But our expectations have to be real. We're not going to be perfect, not this week. So now are you talking about the inner critic thing?
Yes, there are a lot of inner critics of ourselves.
Okay, yeah. The shame on you, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, I shouldn't be like this, My mother said I should be like this, but how come I'm not like this? That kind of a lot of like judgment on ourselves and beating ourselves very hard.
Those kind of things really do get in the way of helping people and having love and understanding. That self-shame, it really doesn't work. Have you ever heard, like, when are you ever going to do that right? Look at your friends. They can manage, so why can't you? You're so lazy. What's the matter with you? And I always used to say, why can't I be like other people? Why am I different? And I'd go on and on about that. But as time goes on, you can just accept, and instead of judging and creating stories. As you create a story, as you create a scenario, oh, I'm this way, and the I gets stronger and stronger, and the compassion gets less and less, and the caring about others get less and less, because we're very busy being hard on ourselves. So it isn't like we want ego here. We don't want to be like Mr. Wonderful, but we want to get everything that's in the way, and it won't all go, but a little bit, thinner and thinner, so that we can be more compassionate, keep walking on that path. And does that make sense?
Yes. So how do we do that?
Here's a little thing that this works, but it's just, it works, but it's hard to remember to do what works. That's really, it's like taking your vitamins, you know. I've got great vitamins and I keep forgetting to take them. And you get a little exercise that might work, but how do you manage one? How do you remember it? So here's very simple. In the morning, oh, this isn't that one, sorry. Imagine when you're thinking of you're thinking of negative things about yourself. However you're thinking, if there's a voice or there's a feeling, turn the volume down. So instead of, oh, why can't you do that? It's like, why can't you do that? Why can't, and the volume down. That's a trick. It shatters the pattern. It changes the dynamic. Another way to change it is if you're talking to yourself and saying, oh, I should have done that. Oh my God. You know, it's like, I should have done that. I don't know why, something's wrong with me. Why am I like this? My mother, whatever. Anyway, or we're blaming our mother for making us so critical. Then you can turn that voice into a cartoon. You know, I'm sort of from the days of Donald Duck, so I don't know what the cartoons are these days. But if you have a voice and you're saying, what's the matter with you? You could say, what's the matter with you? I don't understand. And you're talking crazy to yourself with a different sound. That shatters the pattern, so it doesn't come back the same way again and again. Okay. Now, another thing you can do is if you're really negative about yourself, you can imagine yourself in a circle in front of you and imagine yourself being critical and just zoom that circle out in space so that it's far away. And I think that's a little bit hard to do, but changing the voice is pretty easy. Now, there's one thing that's important before I stop this, is being aware of what we do wrong is really important, but awareness can be kind. It can be almost exciting. It isn't that inner critic. Criticism solidifies. It's like glue. It keeps the pattern there. So if we have it's like the difference between having the hands come in and having the hands go out. Oh, I'm being so bossy. Oh my God. That's not a critic, but that's not abandoning our awareness to the California thing of, oh, you deserve to be happy. You deserve this. You know, we deserve to be awake. We deserve to be aware. That's all. I just want to make sure that it's very clear that we're not abandoning looking at ourselves and our awareness and changing. Okay. Is that it,
Thank you,
Jennifer?
Sandra. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's really wonderful to hear. You know, I think we're looking forward to actually continue to work with you. Hopefully, different projects, we can all have the opportunity to invite you to facilitate, to actually do a group kind of a practice on these exercises in the website. So thank you, Sandra. So I think I'm going to request Deepa to share her screen because we're going to talk about the Charya dance part. So Deepa, so I'd like to introduce another member of the Creative Resilience Project, Deepa Thakur. As we all know, she's actually the representative of Kinsey Foundation in India, and she's also leading many different important projects. And so it's wonderful to see both of them, very kind friends, are doing this with the Rinpoche's aspiration. And it's actually a very daring project. I think that's why I feel like, wow, let's try to work together to see how we can make this project fruitful. So Deepa, I noticed there are some Charya dance videos also in this website, but I think for a lot of us, we don't really know what is the purpose of doing Charya dance and how can we utilize them. Can you share with us?
Thank you, Jennifer. Namaste, Rinpoche, and hello, everyone. Jennifer, I don't know, I'm very nervous at the moment, but I would like to say whatever I can. And about Charya, I think it is something that I feel everyone can relate to and connect to, as I did. And I didn't understand much of it at that time. And later I came to know that this is a traditional Buddhist dance form. And there is a specific Buddhist Charya. There are many non-Buddhist Charya as well. So the dance of the 5 elements is actually the Charya that we are going to do, which is on the workshop in this project. So which will be available for many people who don't understand. Of course, this is mainly for non-Buddhists who don't understand Buddhism so much. And so we are trying to get to tell people about Charya, that this is a form of activity. It's like how yoga is, but it's a little different. It's a form of meditation. It's an active meditation. And it's, as we all know by now, that we are all made up of 5 elements. And but in the growth process, what we unknowingly absorb in our bodies, and so we know there is toxicity, there is we are aware of so many things at the gross level, that we are absorbing negativity, and then subtle level there are many blockages in the body, in the channels. So Charya helps clean all those clean our elements through specific movements and mudras. Now, by practicing regularly, we develop this Charya body, and it is actually a natural movement in our daily life. But the difference here in Charya is that we become more aware and connected with the elements. So 5 elements, and when we connect with the element, we naturally connect with the universe and its magical benefits. So then the universe itself is Charya, and everything that happens here and now is Charya. Whatever is happening is Charya. Whatever will happen is Charya. And this is actually beyond words. In my understanding, it's an experience. And that's how we came up with this, that we need to do this workshop for people, because our own experience about Charya, I don't remember to be a Buddhist when we are doing Charya, but I think it's where we can relate with people who have these blockages, and not just blockages. It's also, it gives a lot of joy in our bodies when we do these exercises. It's so much, for me, it's so much better than doing yoga. And but it's like explaining to you or anybody, for me, it's like explaining you the taste of chocolate, even, and you have never tasted chocolate. So it's very difficult to explain. I hope you will be able to join. Many of you will be able to join the workshop, which is in the space element dance, Charya dance workshop. So see you there.
Thank you, Deepa. I think we would love to taste the chocolate like all of you did. And how long did you practice Charya? Do we need to do it for a long time to feel the transformation?
No, I think you can choose. It depends on the dances. So with these, what our Charya teacher, Anudhi, will be teaching specific Charya with the elements. And then there are different exercises and movements. So there is not actually a long practice, but short ones. So she's really expert in teaching you, like, specific Charya. So I think to do with the elements and the chakras and the the balancing, that part we'll have to wait to experience. But short little bit of practice every day will help, definitely.
Oh, wonderful. It's just like any of the practices we are taught to do, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you to both of you. And I think both of them have chosen a very beautiful video from the website. It's called Path to the Heart. And so we will end today's gathering with this video. And we also want to take the opportunity to thank Rinpoche for coming to give us the Bodhisattva vow and to be with us. Also, we want to thank all the SI volunteers and interpreters to make this event possible. And if you are interested in being notified of the future events related to the Creative Resilience Project, you're welcome to fill up the form in the chat room. Or for our Chinese friends, you're welcome to email to info@ymfz.org. We will assist you in Chinese. And the plan for Kumara Jiva project is, because our vision, Rinpoche gave us this vision to translate all the canonical works into Chinese. But we feel it's also equally important to really take the wisdoms in this text to connect with the people in their daily life. And we are hoping, collaborating with the Creative Resilience Project, we can really build the linkage between the teachings, the wisdoms in this text with the daily life. And because Rinpoche told us in this Buddhist canonical works, Buddha had taught us all the wisdom we need for our life. But how do we actually utilize this and truly put in practice in our daily life is what we want to explore together. So I hope you will join us when there's future workshops. And now we will request Jack, can you then share with us this video, and we will end today's gathering here. But we'll have another 30 minutes of question and answer with Sandra and Deepa. If you are interested in interacting with them after the event, please stay back, and we will have the whole question and answer session in both English and Chinese, because we're not sure if some of the interpreters are available for other languages. So after this, we'll have another 30-minute sessions. But if you need to go, because it's also quite late for Asia now, we will understand. And thank you so much for joining us today. And wish all of you a beautiful day, beautiful afternoon, and beautiful evening. Thank you. Thank you, Jack. So we'll end today's gathering here. If people want to stay back to ask Sandra and Deepa questions, you're welcome to stay. Rinpoche, I can see you're still there. So would you like to say anything? Or you're muted.
The network is really bad, so I'm trying to sort of catch. But I think I got some of it. And no, I don't think I should try to say anything because it's really bad, the network.
Okay, but thank you for joining us. Yeah. Okay, so we will just continue with what we have planned to do. And so is anyone here have questions we would like to talk to Sandra or Deepa? Actually, Jack, can we have people turn on their microphone, or how does it work? True, we cannot. Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
so
people can put their questions in the chat room. Everyone's room. Can people text in the chat room?
Yes, so I think people can raise their hand so I can grant them the mic. So, but for the time being, so
I
we
see.
can go for the text Q&A maybe.
Okay. Oh, Deepa, people asked whether you have any plan for future workshops. Can you share that?
Yes. There will be ongoing workshops. Should I share the screen,
Yes,
Jennifer?
please. Yes, please do.
So at the moment,
I can see 2 people raised their.
there is one question. I think this question is for Sandra. I don't know how to make this full now again. Sandra, the question is, adaptation helped me survive and thrive. However, sometimes I'm too much of a mirror or projector. If someone makes me dislike myself, should I remove myself from the situation?
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't understand it. Is this person saying they pick up the energy from someone else and mirror it back?
I
that what
think
it
something
means?
like that.
I can't say remove yourself, but there's a trick that I take on energy very easy from people, and it's always been a problem. And sometimes if somebody else is quietly angry, all of a sudden I'll get angry, like I catch it when it's invisible. But there's a crazy trick that really works for me, and it comes from a neural, well, I don't need to say where it comes from, but anyway, you can imagine a pillar in front of yourself. Just imagine a pillar, and then the energy of that person goes into the pillar instead of coming into your auric field and yourself. And it seems to help. And it really seems to help. And if it doesn't help, if it doesn't work, then we're free. If we're gonna, yeah, you can leave or not leave. I can't answer that. But I can say there's little, I understand picking up energy and reflecting it, and it is a problem. And the only thing that's ever worked for me is this pillar. It's like a big pillar in front of yourself. Does that make sense? It's so out there, I can imagine it doesn't make much sense, but it is a part of a certain kind of psychology. It isn't just my fantasy or California thing.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
have 4 people raise their hands. So Deepa, would you like to take their questions?
Okay. I don't know where they are.
I'm looking at the workshop. Is that what I should be looking at?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
I just allowed users, so you are allowed to unmute yourself if you are available. If you are available.
How can we request to join Deepa's workshop? So this will be the dance workshop by our Charya dance teacher, and this will be once a month workshop. So if you register on the in the form on the website in the Charya dance workshop, or you can also register and mention in this form about if you would like to do that. But I think if you want to join a particular workshop, the Charya dance workshop, you can register on the website. So maybe I'll just show you where exactly. You go to the space element. In the space element, there is this Charya dance. You can also, yeah, I think here you will see this register now. So you register for this, and we will have a minimum number of participants every month. Once a month, we will have this workshop. So we also have given the details of what we'll be doing. This is a beginner's course. So we'll be doing these, and then eventually we'll be moving on to the advanced level, a little bit advanced, not so much. So here is the, I hope, get the answer.
So Deepa,
Art workshop also, okay.
Deepa, there are a few audience are asking, would you have the Creative Resilience Project in other languages, Chinese and other languages?
Chinese depends on you, Jennifer, and other languages depend on other translators. If they volunteer to do this, we are most welcome to, I mean, they are most welcome to do this, but I don't think we have the capability to translate. So
Okay. Yes. I think this is a question. I think when they are available, we can announce it, right, through your Instagram.
Yes.
Like
Someone said, someone has asked, Rinpoche once said dance
taking
without
question and
context.
answer from somewhere else, because we have three
Oh,
other
okay.
people here. Are you
Sorry,
taking
sorry.
questions from somewhere else?
I'm seeing them in the chat room. Anyway, I think you go ahead.
Oh, Q&A. Oh, yes.
Q&A room. There is.
Okay. And some are in
Please,
Chinese.
yes. Please, you ask first, and then I will go to these questions.
Okay. So I will pick. There are some more personal questions. I think maybe not so appropriate to ask them here at this moment. So would you offer projects related to environmental protection?
Sandra, would you like to take this?
Well, the reason that we gave voice to the earth is and the water and the wind and the sky and space. We have, sorry, we have these, people can see the voice of wind, the voice of water. Those are to make us become more aware of the needs of taking care of the earth, of taking care of the water. But as far as a project beyond that, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you. Sandra,
But
there's another, right.
the voices are to connect us in a more heartfelt way to the five elements, so that we really get the feel of earth, and then we appreciate more and we remember more and we think about it more when we walk on her, and when we look at the sky, we remember and we're grateful. So that's as far as we go here in this project at this time.
Yes. So there's another question, I think very connected to what you would like to do. So say the question is, sometimes practitioners may suffer trauma and other emotion difficulties and not able to directly find helpful methods from Dharmic teachings. Is there any suggestion or possible future program to support practitioners who are struggling?
Everything is always up to Rinpoche, right? But as far as trauma, these days trauma is like aspirin. Everybody has trauma, and some of this trauma is just plain old emotional problems, and plain old emotional problems can be solved through some therapy or some methods or some specific doctor, one or two times. But then real trauma from major, wow, that video's nice. Major, major, I don't know how to say it without using the word trauma, major trauma that has affected the brain, that takes a little bit of skill and doctors. But, I want to say this website has not little, but actually useful tools, but it doesn't address deep psychological problems. It doesn't address suicide. It doesn't address schizophrenia. It doesn't address many, many deep things. So, but there's tools in here that can make life easier if one has the trauma. It can. But I think trauma means doctor. I'm not sure, but that's what I would think.
Okay, thank you. So there's another person here says, as a psychology student based in Australia, I'm very excited to see such a project. Sandra, with your extensive experience, I would like to ask how you effectively integrate psychology and Buddhist principles to help people with psychological disorders?
Well, I don't think about it. When I got my PhD, Tinley Noble Rinpoche was a major teacher and spent days, hours hammering my mind and teaching me about Buddhist psychology. And basically, I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. Like Lama Tarchin once, he said to one of his students, I want you to go see Sandra, but just don't ask her what she does because she doesn't know. And I really just feel like I trust that whatever's I do. I sort of trust whatever I have, I'll give. And that's it. I don't think a lot. I just do. But that's a really bad answer, but that's the truth.
That's very good. So actually, many people want to know how they can sign up for future events. So I think we can tell people here, it's in the chat room. There is a Zoom registration form. It's supposed to be working both China and outside China. Please just fill in your name and address, and then the project will contact you as soon as there's more detailed plan of the upcoming events. So there are some real case. Can I join the? Yeah, so just we can see from the inputs here, many people want to join the listen to the podcast. That's going to come more podcasts from the project and also the event. And then other questions are actually directly to their personal problems. And Sandra, I'm not sure we want to take this now. It's things like one of the persons suffer from their son committing suicide. It's quite difficult. I don't think this. We are very sorry. I think maybe
a doctor.
yes, go to
Mm.
a doctor if such a case. So okay, one question is a more general question. Is this website going to be a platform for selected introductions of creativity and Dharma applied to the public society? Or are you targeting a more specific people? Is it for general public or is for specific target group? Deepa, you want to take that question?
Okay, I think it's what I have I mean what is here, what I understand is it's for anyone who face these things, not for a specific, especially actually I don't think this is specifically for any group, but for everyone who can use these tools. It's not necessary to use, especially I
Okay.
feel many Buddhists are too wise to use these tools, but
Maybe too basic.
general public, yeah, it's too basic.
Basic for some more senior Buddhists.
Yes.
And how did you come up with the meditations in the website?
Oh, the meditations.
Yeah.
You have
Are they based
wonderful.
on Tinelambur just teaching or?
Yes, Sandra, I think better Sandra talks about it, and then
People helped us, actually. So many Buddhists that are connected to Zonzo Kensei helped. And like Alana I think she did the fire meditation. And I can't remember who did what, but we were desperate for those meditations. We didn't know how to do it. So most of them came from other people. But basically, meditations were trying to connect the 5 elements in a very sweet and simple way. So that's it. We didn't do it.
I see. Okay, then there are 2 other questions I think is also quite crucial. One person asked, are these tools safe? I think what the big, like, for example, working with your anger, working with your sorrow, are these tools like exercises you suggest safe? It's okay for anybody?
I think there's nothing that's safe, but to the best of our ability, these are pretty safe. But if you don't feel, you look at it and you read it, and if you think, is this safe? Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's an idea, but there's nothing safe. It's like there's a toolbox with lots of tools. They may work and they may not, but you trust yourself. But we tried very, very hard to make them safe. We tested people, we researched, we did everything. But again, what's safe for one may not be safe for another.
Yes. Okay, then the other question is, can they share this website with non-Buddhists? Because some of them have friends, families who are not Buddhists. Is this a good website to share with them?
Please do that. It was made for them. Rinpoche said, don't just make this for Buddhists. That's why it was so hard not to make it for Buddhists. It would have been so easy to make it for Buddhists. We could have had the Buddha here and Sutra here and that. And we struggled and we couldn't do it. So because he said, underlying the secret wisdom, keep the Buddhist wisdom, but don't do it, but don't do it. Do it, but don't show it. It was so hard. But yes, this is for non-Buddhists. I'm pleased. And I was hoping once I did a book, or me and my daughter did a book, and non-Buddhists asked, oh, Sandra, let me see your book. And they'd see the book and they'd say, oh, this is so Buddhist. And I'm sure they never read one thing in it. But, this is for non-Buddhists. Yes.
Okay. For non-Buddhists who are stuck with different emotions and different problems. Can I say that? Because one thing Deepa shared is what you found really connected everybody together, Buddhists or not Buddhists, is their emotions.
Yeah,
Could
I
you
think
say,
really, Deepa, do you want to talk?
I just thought about, we are all humans, and before becoming a Buddhist, I still had emotions and habits. Sometimes, I mean, even now they continue to, it's somewhere there. And I do suffer like other people. I do suffer. The only difference is a little bit of awareness and the blessings. I think I'm connected with one of the best human beings in the world, and that helps me. But the common thing between other people, I don't see there is any other difference, at the level of feeling the emotions. And I think on the path, we are trying to follow the path to, to work with the emotional defilements and attain a stage. But for the non-Buddhists, they also feel the same, but it's just that they are not on the path. So that's the common thing between non-Buddhists and Buddhists. Like all of us feel the emotions, angers, frustration, sadness, and everything. So that for me is, so that's why it can be used. And I use the tools in the website. It's very helpful for me.
yes.
I remember one thing I want to say is His Holiness Dujum Rinpoche said to me, I think it was to me or a small group, that you never know who, when you're walking down the street, you never know if that person's going to be enlightened. So I've always kept that in my mind. Instead of I'm Buddhist or we're Buddhist, and then there's them and then there's us, it's like, who knows who's who? But that's what Dujum Rinpoche said. And I thought that was so wonderful.
Yes.
Because we never know.
You never know, right? And I think maybe we can, Rinpoche, do you want to share anything? Please, say that I will.
Please say something.
I feel like, Rinpoche is there, and then maybe he can enlighten us.
We are blabbering and blabbering.
Yeah.
It's so nice. I have a trauma for, not knowing how people, sort of listen to me. So sometimes it's good to be on the other side of listening.
I see.
Actually, Sandra and whoever, Sandra, what is trauma? Can you explain?
Oh, God. Well,
Can you explain? Can you explain as
trauma
a Buddhist and a non-Buddhist both?
I think if we could look in the dictionary, it would be good. But in a few years ago, trauma was a very serious thing, and that affected the brain and affected the physical well-being. And nowadays, emotional problems are called trauma. So I think in the nowadays language, it means it could be a neurotic pattern. It could be upset, just a really, really upset, like not real trauma is like when you like the bus accident, you fall off and you have PTSD, you go to war and you have PTSD from war, that's trauma. You have concussion, that's trauma. But nowadays,
I see.
everybody has trauma. So I can't define it for the nowadays.
Okay, Roger, there's one question actually for both you and Sandra. It's the person said, I'm a Buddhist beginner. If Buddhist tools and non-Buddhist tools are mixed together, will
I
that
didn't get the
affect
question.
my...
Repeat it again.
The person is a beginner on Buddhist path. So she's worried if we are mixing Buddhist tools and non-Buddhist tools, would it affect her path to seek the truth?
It's a really, really good question.
I don't know. What do you mean by non-Buddhist? You mean like if you mix
like this stuff?
If you mix like a Buddhist and you know, what do you call it? Evangelical, you know, or what do you call it? Jehovah's Witness or Sunni or Shia, probably not a good idea, but as long as it's nothing like a religious whatever, anything else is fine, right? I think so. Ask Dr. Sandra, what do you think?
I think if you're really worried about that it's good to just stick with thinking of what the Buddha said and just let that be in the beginning. Just think about that, do whatever Rinpoche says. And then, you know, if you have some huge problem in a year or two, you can figure it out. Emotional problems come up. But I think it's a very good question. I don't think there's any harm in anything that is here that would hurt anybody. But the Buddha's words and in the beginning, it's so wonderful. It's really wonderful. I think, I'm not sure, but I think as we go along the path, sorry, we have to face ourselves more and more. So our emotions come up and our negative habits come up. And then maybe when they come up, it's really good to get a little help. But I think you just stick with the beginning Buddhists and think about what Buddha said.
Okay. Then it comes to, I think the last question for today is meditation. We were taught meditation is the first thing we should try to do as Buddhists, but we are also taught by some people saying meditation in the wrong way, you might become crazy for doing it in the wrong way. So how do we, we as Buddhists, how do we help people? Whether is meditation good for people with trauma? So this is a question to both Rinpoche and Sandra.
Rinpoche, that's Rinpoche's question.
No, that's Sandra's.
No, Rinpoche.
Come on, this is something to do with the meditation. You meditate a lot. I never meditate.
Rinpoche, I've had the teaching of no meditation from you. So, but I think if you have a lot of trauma going on, then very brief being quiet and still for a few minutes is fine. That's what I would say. If Rinpoche weren't here and you were just asking me, I'd say, oh, just meditate for a minute, or just meditate when you brush your teeth, or when you're in the shower, just imagine everything, all the sorrow and things leaving. Don't have to do the meditation until the mind quiets down a bit. If it's real trauma. Again, the word trauma is just gone. I don't know really how to address it.
Do you want to say anything on top of that? What Sandra say?
That's it.
Okay. Approved answer. Okay, thank you. I think we have come to the end of the time we set for this event. So thank you, Rinpoche, for being here. Thank you, Sandra, and thank you, Deepa, and all the translators.
Thank you
and
so
all
much,
the
Jennifer.
friends.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Such a wonderful Moon Festival.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. So if you have any questions, you can email us. We are here Well, even to
Yeah.
Kinsey Foundation, you will be able to reach us, both our Kinsey Foundation project. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Jennifer.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Jennifer.
Thank you. Kinsey, Patricia. Bye-bye.